Hello and welcome to SportsWomenConnect. My name is Regina, your host. SportsWomenConnect is a platform for girls, women, and sports well-wishers to connect and share their ideas, experiences, and aspirations for women in sport. We'll be discussing key issues with special emphasis on women in sports leadership. And today, I am joined by somebody who is a sportswoman and has been able to balance her sports as well as grow her professional career. I'll let her introduce herself and tell us more about her journey. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. My name is Lillian Mpabulungi Ssengooba. I'm happy to be here, and I thank Regina for inviting me to share my experiences.
Oh, thank you for
I'm married with 3 boys. I have done sports for most of my life, could be 3 years. Now, over 40, I'm still doing sports. But I do work too. And I have big family around me, and I've been in different leadership positions as in sports as well as my own work. And I use sports to make it happen in the lives of different people. Thank you, Regina.
You're most welcome. Lillian, what is the situation on ground for women in sport? I mean, in terms of balancing sport, work, and family.
Okay. One of the things that we realize when you're doing sports, you have to ask the question, do I want to keep in sports or do I want to be out of sports? Now, what does this take? You have to, okay, what does it take? You have to really think through your head. There has to be a lot of commitment, a lot of passion.
Commitment.
Commitment and passion.
Yes.
If you have the two, then you're about to excel.
Okay.
And you have to have compassion of what you're doing. And whenever you're doing this, when you're on ground, what do we see? When a girl starts doing sports, you may start at 3 years.
Okay.
As you go to school, things come in. School, sports. School, sports. So you have to balance.
Yeah.
Now, what does this mean? You have to have a support system around you.
System, yes.
The support system is very important. And the support system starts with yourself.
Okay.
Do you love what you're doing? Yes. Then the sky is the limit.
Okay.
Then do you have people around you, especially your guardians, your parents, your siblings, and the people in the community?
Yes.
One word to the wise always makes
Is
a
enough.
difference.
Yeah.
It's just enough.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody, as you are doing your sport, just comes and say, hey, Regina, you were super.
You're like,
It's already a
yes.
motivation.
Yeah. Yes.
When somebody says, you did well, it's good.
It's encouragement.
It's encouragement. But then the other thing that you have to bear in mind, besides the commitment, you need the time to balance.
Yes.
There's time to play, there's a time to work. Now, this you have to schedule right from childhood. As most parents do it nowadays, there's time to play, there's time to read, watch TV, do all sorts of things.
Yes.
But what we realize now, you see more children, especially the girl child, being busy doing, watch TV, too busy to do sports. And then as you grow, I'll use the education system that we have. When you get to P5, that's about 10 years of age. As a girl, you know what happens to the body. The body changes, puberty comes into play. Now here we're talking about balancing between sports, your body, as well as your time to read.
Okay.
Now that has to come in time to play. Time to play, time to read. And most parents are now thinking of academics rather than actually thinking of you balance the two. As the story goes,
Work without play?
makes Jack a dull.
Dull.
This time I'll use makes Lillian a dull girl.
Yeah.
You need to balance the two because it also helps the mind. I mean, science was never wrong. You need the brains. You need to stimulate the mind to be able to play. And if you have a time to rest, just to do a little exercise, it helps the brain, which is important. But many times in Uganda, you find that we concentrate more on the books and forget the play for the child.
Yes.
And we expect a lot from this child as they grow.
Especially
so that's
when
the
they
beginning.
reach P5?
P5. Now that's the beginning of fallback. Then the other thing that comes into play is the puberty.
Yeah.
Body changes. You know, Lillian, you're going to become masculine. And I'm like, oh, really?
No way.
Now, do I want that? Of course, the question, and if you're, especially if it comes from your father, as they say, unlike pose, attract.
Yes.
When your father says, you know what, Lillian, you're going to put on, when you do sports, you're going to become muscular, you're going to become hard, you'll not be interested, you're not going to be more, you're going to lose the beauty. First thing you're like, but if daddy says so, what will happen? You believe,
yes,
because that's your wrong model. So slowly, you start losing interest. The person used to play probably 1 hour every day, you start 30 minutes. When your friends come, you stop it. So that's the beginning of fallback. Then you have a lot of peer pressure from your friends. That also catches up with you. So slowly, what are they doing? If they're not into sports, if you're not committed, as I said first, then you'll also fall back.
Yes.
Now, what happens also in puberty is the normal periods. Now, the way it's brought into your life matters. If you don't have a person who understands a girl's body, whenever you get periods, when you have a game competition, for instance, you're going for netball and you think of the jumping, and of course something goes around in your mind, you're like, oh my God.
I'm not doing
then you're
that.
like, fall back. So you've actually gone down and you're not keep up. Now, you find that the people that started probably in P5 at 10 years old, and they're 10, by the end of 12 years, you'll have 3. Yeah, when P7 for Uganda standards or elsewhere, when you're 12 years, there's a likelihood that you'll only remain 3.
That's true.
Because of the different things I've said. Competition, you're competing with the time. Time for yourself, time for your body, time for books, time for everything.
Yes.
So you end up losing it. And that's fall back.
Yeah, true.
And then the other thing that happens, especially in Uganda, probably and elsewhere, the kind of sports that you have around you will determine whether you continue with the sports as a girl or you don't.
Yeah.
At the lower level, you are exposed to everything and everything.
Sport. You can do anything.
You can do gymnastics, you can do dodgeball, you run every day. So everybody, I believe everybody can do athletics. You can run, but not everybody can play a skilled game. Not every girl can say rugby because of the stereotyping. You think of football, it is male game. So you have to balance. Now, whom am I going to play with? If the school team is made up of only boys,
it becomes impossible.
It becomes impossible. So you slowly give up and you fail to balance your sport. And then besides that, as you continue working ahead of you, you realize that, is it really? Do I have to do it? What are the benefits of sports? Especially when your parents are saying, we're paying school fees for you to read, not to play. And we've also we expect 4
out of 4 subjects.
But it's more interesting that even if you get a 4, some of the skills that you get in sports, you'll never get them elsewhere.
Exactly.
You learn how to work with teams. You learn issues of integrity, discipline. You learn to know respect others. Then you learn to give, to commit beyond yourself. In volleyball, we have a saying that you die for your team, you die for your country. Die a little more.
Just a little.
So stretch a little more, you'll understand that, which also comes back to the workspace. Because if you learn to challenge situations and to die for certain situations, then you're ready to take risks. And this applies in the workspace. And to me, it is very, very, very important that we look at that. However, as I began, the support system has to be strong.
And has to be strong.
Right from childhood to your high school, middle age, and as you mature.
Is that what has helped you? Is that what has helped you so far?
So far, I would say with a strong support system, the sky is the limit. I started off with a very supportive family, which would always say, hey, Lillian, go for this. Yeah, I can do it. So I had a strong sample size at the base. You try out netball, you try out football, you try out gymnastics. And I always tell parents now, the best sport a child can start with is gymnastics.
A girl child.
A girl child. Reason is you become flexible for life. You will never get flexibility after 15 years.
No.
You'll even fear when they tell you, can you do a split 180? Say,
What is split?
180 is stretch. And everybody say,
Huh?
it's impossible.
Yeah,
You say, and yet, up to today, I feel I can still do it, and I'm ready. Definitely, I wish we had space here. I'll definitely show you the split without any problem.
Okay.
But it involves a support system. Some of the things you do starts at home. Your best coach
Is your parent.
is your parent, because they tell you, because they may never play the sport, but actually they'll be able to connect with you. They'll say, please do it like that, and you actually believe in them. If you believe in them,
Because they're your role models, so you have no choice.
yeah, and then, you know, whether they understand it or not, the other thing, if they come and watch you, you know that there's somebody up there. There's an angel with
Watching
you,
over me.
watching over you. If you make a mistake, they'll come up and wake you up and say, hey, you're good to go. But really talking about the girls, the issue of support is key. When I look back, when I reached university, there are people we reached with and they knew they were the best sports people at school, high school. When we reached university, the ball game changed. They don't want to do sports. Reason is they have people who have told them, if you do sports, your figure will be gone.
You look funny.
There's so many people going to look at your body. You're now going for swimming. Oh my God, everybody's going to look at your body. And yet this person, I'm talking about my brothers out there and our fathers, they're looking, who wouldn't like a beautiful flower? They found you beautiful.
Yes.
They want you beautiful. But at the same time, they're saying, they're a bit jealousy. If they see somebody else admiring, it's like, I have to protect my area. So they are good at the protection, but they're not good at support system. You need people that will support you to see you grow into the sport. There's what they call, I remember one time when I was doing a lot of training, you know, you're playing basketball, you're playing volleyball, you go to taekwondo, you go into squash, you go, you know, it sounded good. But you know, you have other people around you who are like, the first love is sports, as for your second love. So you have to balance.
So Lillian, how have you been able to maintain the balance between your family life,
Family
your
life.
sport life, and your professional career?
Okay, I'll start with my family. The families are big. I'm talking about my family were married. Fortunately, I married a sports person.
Oh,
So we understand each other. A person who reminds me like, hey, today we didn't work out. And the same thing, we challenge ourselves. We try out new sports. So to me, it's just like, it was God's plan that I got there. And, you know, sometimes you have to do things purposively. Choose wisely for the right people so that they can support you. However, even if you don't get somebody who has done sports, the thing is, does the person appreciate what you're bringing on board? The value addition, as we normally call it in development, value addition. Yes, you're not doing sports, I'm doing sports, I'm bringing something nice. Never know the siblings will take after me.
Yes, true.
And maybe you actually start the sporting when we get married with me. You start with me. So the thing is, he's been supportive, but at the same time, we do some sports together. I mean, at home, space. You don't need to go away from home.
And that is something that I really wanted us to tackle, the workout space.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like I should go running, but then the body's like,
I think, Regina, you need somebody close to you to actually support you to do the sports.
Which person I actually have, but it's the other way around. I am sporty, you know, I'm sporty. But there are those days you wake up and you're like,
body go, body no.
No.
Those moments are there.
How do you manage to do that? Because you have a professional job, not job per se, career. It's a professional career. You have 3 young men or boys. You have your wonderful husband to look after. Then there is your sport, your volleyball family, how?
One of the key things, Regina, as there's time for everything, as the Bible says somewhere. There's time for everything. So if you plan wisely, everything is possible. But I know most women will always, some of them will give excuses. 50% will say, you know, if I'm to do sports, I need somebody to work out with. But if you're really, if you really want to do something, it starts with you and ends with you. It starts with your brain. Others will come in to support you, but you'll challenge yourself more. So one of the key things that has happened to me is to plan and challenge myself.
Okay.
I have time, even if it's 5 minutes to keep up. I'm no longer doing like active training with my team, the volleyball team. But one thing that happens, I do another sport. So when I go and play, I'm still fit. And this does not take me an hour or so. Every morning I wake up, do sit-ups. We used to call them the usual exercise, warm up, do some jumps. Before you shower. It's just a given. Before you shower, before you have a shower, just do the thing. Do your 100 sit-ups, do your jumps, and then go for the shower. It's good enough. Do a little leg raise. And this is what I keep telling women and people out there, that the issue is fitness. And sometimes we deceive ourselves that because I'm a size 10, I don't need to work out. It's important for the body because you make the body stronger and you enjoy work. And one of the things I've realized, if I don't work out, my day at work is bad.
You feel sick.
Yes, so create time, either in the morning or lunchtime. You don't need a lot of food to eat at lunchtime, as people say. Lunchtime food. Do the lunchtime for exercise. 30 minutes, go and work out, you'll feel better, come back to office, it's refreshing. And believe me, try it today, you see it will work out for you. Then the other thing that we normally do is also carrying your kit. You know, when your kit is always looking at you, it is always a reminder. It can be something small, but it doesn't matter. Just dress appropriately. It doesn't mean that every time you have to be in a sportswear. Feel normal to do a little exercise. Sitting on the wall, simple things. So one of the things I've learned is that you have to do. Take the time, create the time, be there and plan.
And have a goal.
Have a ball, have your kit. You don't even need the ball.
No, I'm saying a goal.
A goal, yeah, you need to work out. Do I have it? Is it written? Everybody nowadays carries a diary. Move your diary and put a reminder. Work out at this time. And don't interrupt it. So we have to create time.
It's more theoretical than practical for most of us women, for most of us mothers. We're like...
You can do it with the children too. If you have children, they'll always remind you. Tell them to actually, give them a role to be part of your life. And they'll enjoy it with you. If you're doing your workout, if you're doing your stretches and you invite them, they'll always, Mommy, we have to go. Mommy, can we stretch? Mommy, you forgot today. And it's always nice.
It is.
And that is what I'm calling also the support system.
And the balancing.
And the balancing. The other thing is, I had a manager, I had our country director who would always say, work-life balance, work-life balance. If you don't balance, you'll be out. So the thing is, you learn also from that. You're like, hey, I need to balance. Because some of the diseases we get later on, after 35, especially the women, are basically related to our workspace, our work environment. You spend 8 hours seated. Then why don't you do something different?
And you have a heavy lunch.
You have good lunch carried from home, and somebody takes you out for lunch, you eat it. Everything gets into your system.
And without getting out.
It's not getting out. So, and you don't even want to do a little walk. So you create it, you balance it. But most importantly, if you can't work out alone, make a team. Find a partner. They're always there. Do something together. No excuses. The thing is, I still say, it's in the mind. No excuses. You create excuses, the body will go. And very soon the person who started with size 8, you get to 14, you get to 16, you get to 22, No, you're still doing good. You're still fit. But we have also to mark the thing. We have to create a difference here. Is it the size? Is it the fitness?
Or is it the feel good?
Or the feel good. So if all those come in, then you're bound to be okay. There's this status thing that comes up. You know, I jog.
Every morning.
I jog every morning. But, you know, the eating habits don't balance. And then you're asking, is it fitness? But when you do the fitness test, still the person doesn't have to get back. But beyond my family, I have community members that are around me. The people who believe in what I do.
Yes.
So when you work out with them, I know at church we have a team that we started to work out, so that also helps.
Yeah.
But then I have such a strong sports fraternity, which I call family. This is the Kampala Amateur Volleyball Club.
Yes.
Those have been part of me. And there's what we call the veteran team.
Yes.
The veterans, those are about 40 years, about 40, but we still give the game. We still play. Even in this league, we actually participated in the league. Well, hopefully next year we'll be around. The issue is to encourage the young girls to actually do the sport. And one of the things we do is also to mentor young girls to actually take on the sport, be good, love the sport. But this is not only for the sports. Also at school, we encourage them. We visit them. We even visit the parents to encourage the parent that the sport does not spoil, but actually
it makes a better person.
A better leader, and that is what everybody needs. And we hope going forward, if the Uganda sports fraternity as well as the I know the Olympics Committee has taken up something now, encouraging the women in leadership, capacity building. Then probably we'll see the results with time. They will not come today, but they'll come slowly. So slowly we'll see the changes and we'll see them happen. But besides everything, everybody needs a mentor. You need somebody you believe in, somebody you call up and say, I'm failing here. And usually that is what fails us.
Lillian, just to cut you a little bit, what challenges, I know it's been a rough ride, have you had any challenges along the way in balancing your family life, your career life, and your sports life?
Definitely. With any growth, there has to be a challenge. But the challenge, we learn from them. Of course, you know, you're looking at the time, you have to be on court for training, probably. From the coach has given you different things, but also your supervisor at work has given you, you know, Lillian, you have to finish this task before you go. So you have to balance. The issue is you learn to be efficient.
Yes.
There's quality versus quantity, so you give quality. And one of the key things that has happened to me is also like to create time. If I know I can't make it for training with the group, is to do my workout elsewhere. I may not be with the team today, but I schedule my own time.
But also you communicate to the
You have to communicate to the team that I'll not be there, but this is what I've done. So the issue of accountability for self, to the coach, and to the team is key for that. And then we'll always face challenges in terms of course, the time, and of course, when you have babies. You know, one time somebody was saying, no, sometimes you have to plan your babies. It's difficult, but sometimes it's important. You know, if you really want to keep up, sometimes you either have to space the children or see. Because we've seen it with majority of the sports people. Once they give birth to one child, sometimes
they fall out.
They fall out. Reason is family.
Yes.
But it's a choice you make. If you really feel sports is key, you make a choice. If you feel family is more important than sports, then it will be secondary. But the issue is, can you still give back? When you give birth,
balance,
if you give birth, can you come back?
Can you join coaching? Can you join officiation? Can you join
something else, another sport? Doesn't mean that the sport that you're actively doing should be the end. Start up something. I remember when I finished university, I'd never done taekwondo, but when I read about it, I actually realized that I would be fit doing taekwondo. So when I did taekwondo, realized when I go back to the ball games, I'm easier. Fit. You know, I'm agile. I would be fit. So to me, it's like, try out something new. If this sport is tiring, do something else. Try out badminton. If you're doing ball game, next time try out something else. try a bit of boxing, try a bit of running, try out. It's good to do everything because the sky is the limit. Try out something you used not to do. Try out swimming, try out. It is important.
The keyword is try out any sport.
And keep in there. But we continue lose the girls along the way.
Yeah.
And to me, at 15, when we expect this child to go for high competition, is where they go out. Olympics, leadership, because it comes out. 15, you're trying now to see who is the next captain, who is the next Olympic medal. You're looking at productivity from 13 years. Who will be the national flag leader? And then at the end of the day, you lose them. Reason is the parent probably has said, we have to think about school, the books. But then you've forgotten that maybe it's not the destiny of this child. But this leadership this child is getting now will take this child spaces, this girl child to spaces, into leadership, not only in sports, but even outside sports. And they'll use sports to actually get wherever they want to be.
Because of the values they gain.
Because of the values they get. Because once you're a sports person, even the workplace, you'll have to introduce it. Somehow, you're bitten.
It just comes
it's addictive.
Naturally.
It's a drug.
It's a drug.
It's a drug. So, you really have to think through. Everything you look and say, wow. You find a girl walking in like, I like your height. And then is it about the height? Can you do something? Can you play basketball? Can you play volleyball?
Can you throw a ball around? Something.
Yeah, something that has to happen. But the issue is exposure is key, support is key, commitment is key. But of course, the facilities have to be there that suit the girl. This means the human resource, a coach who understands the nature of the girl. I don't want to stereotype, but it's important that the handling is key to ensure that the environment for the girl to do sports actually works out well. If you have a coach who understands the body changes, the mood changes, the applicability, competition fear, confidence building, then everything is okay. So there has to be a lot of capacity building for the coach. It doesn't mean that it has to be a female coach. You have to have a coach who understands the female.
Yes.
It's like the way a female coach can coach the men.
Yeah.
The same thing, all you need is a coach who is gender transformative or sensitive to handle people. And also investing in the psychologist. We find that most teams in Uganda, we don't have psychologists.
Actually, when you talk about psychologists, I don't know any national team that has a psychologist.
I've not heard of any. So you need a person who understands the mood. When is Lillian at the highest? When is Rebecca at the highest? When is Jackie at the highest? This is what will make it.
Okay.
And once you understand that,
everything will be okay.
We believe they'll be able to balance their mood now. It's not about also balancing workspace, but it's also balancing the mood. So when a sports person balances the mood.
Lillian, I feel this topic we can go on, and we can spend the entire evening talking about work-sport-life balance. But what words of encouragement do you have for mothers who are struggling to strike the balance?
To do sports. If they're sports people, one thing. If they were sports people and now they're mothers, you can still do something with your body, and you can still keep at the game and keep fit all the time. It's very, very important. Now, if you're working, the issue is to create time. Manage your boss. Talk to your boss. Talk to your supervisor. Make them friends so that they appreciate the value of sports, the value of sports in you. Because everywhere you are, you should
be. And the workplace.
Yes. You should be able to create a team around you. We would like to see more women calling on other women to join the sports world. And that's the way we'll get also more leaders. And encourage them to be leaders as they do the game. It could be a small team, but they could be the captain in office. They could be at home, but if it's a girl child, let them lead. Leadership does not start from up, it starts from below.
What advice do you have for mothers who, stay-at-home mothers, who are passionate about sport? How can they give back?
Okay. there are two things. If they're at home, in the neighborhood, they're also fellow women.
Yes.
You could map out, as we call it. You go out, your neighbor. I know it's difficult in Uganda. It's difficult in Uganda to knock at people's gates and say, this is what I'm doing. But the more they see you, break the ice. Go there. Start, intervene. But when you're going there, also go dressed appropriately ready to start the sport. So that it starts off easily. But even when you're at home, because you're a stay-at-home mother, you have a lot of space. You have the sitting room, you have the living room, you have the backyard. You don't need to be out. You have so much. 1 by 1 meter is just enough to do something. Start small, grow big. That is the way it starts. But hang in there. Be ready to fail, be ready to get up. And the more we'll have more sports than losing them. More sportswomen and girls.
It has been, for me now, I have some small things that I have picked from this talk that I'm going to work on seriously, because sometimes I feel lazy. And as we come to the end of the show, I would like to thank all those who have made it possible for the show this far. Special mention to Bruno Bigoni in Brazil, who designed our beautiful SportsWomenConnect logo. And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.